Liverpool 4, Spurs 2. That was more like it, wasn't it? Well, for 70 minutes it was anyway. But a great win, great performance overall. We'll get into the last 20 minutes in a little bit. It just shows you've done it. How easy it is to beat Spurs when you've got 11 men and no dodgy officials and perfectly good goals ruled out. And that cost 3 points. Yeah, I'm still bitter about that. By the way, I'm in my father-in-law's in Palm Springs, so this is a very temporary setup. If you could see how I've got this all organised, you'd be laughing. Let's get into the game. So, first of all, I loved the starting 11, and I think right now that is our first choice 11, because I think Kanate has lost his place to Kwanzaa, and yeah, I know Kwanzaa's made a couple of mistakes, but he's also put in some stellar performances for us, and he put in another very good performance today, including a couple of really good interceptions. That is our first choice midfield. I'm absolutely convinced. It would have been Szoboszlai early in the season, but his form deserted him. And you know, if you've watched these videos, I've been banging on about it week in, week out, that McAllister needs to be playing in his advanced position, Endo needs to be the number 6, and that third spot needs to go to Harvey Elliott, not to anybody else. And Harvey Elliott does not need to be getting played in advanced forward position. Those of you who've played football, right, you know that there's a position that you are meant to play. And when you're put into a position that is sort of foreign to you, one that your skill set isn't cut out for, then you're just not as effective. And that's what I see every time Harvey Elliott is moved into that advanced forward position. That running that he brings you, that energy that he brings you, those little tricks, that vision he's got for that final ball, that all goes out the window because he's up there on the right wing where he's not making those things happen. So anyway, very happy to see that midfield finally came to fruition. And up front, Mo was reinstated after his spat with Jürgen, which of course the media made a mountain of, which just happens. It's one of those things that happens. Luis Diaz has done enough week in, week out to deserve his place. And Cody Gakpo has been in much better form of late and also deserved his place ahead of Darwin Núñez. So very happy with the first 11. And the result was the balance was right, the energy level was right, the commitment was right. And for the first half of this game, we were back to the Liverpool we've watched and loved for virtually the entire season. And it was absolutely superb. I do want to talk a little bit about Ange. He gets all these plaudits. He was one of the favourites to take over as the Liverpool manager, as a Liverpool fan. But I just don't see it at all. He started the season on fire, but he was an unknown quantity. Spurs were the new guys were an unknown quantity. So they started off like house on fire. But you know the thing about Premier League managers, Premier League teams, they work it out really quickly. And what they worked out is that Spurs attack, and which they're actually fairly good at. But they're open as can be all the time. They don't press you properly. They stand off you. And what was really apparent today in that first half and up until the 70th minute was that he'd not learned a thing from watching the way Atalanta man-marked us and the way Everton got in our faces and really stopped us from playing. Spurs allowed us to play. Every one of their players, once we got the ball, they dropped off their man 5 yards, every one of them. And it was consistent for the first 70 minutes of the game. And as such, we were under no pressure. We could pick our passes. We weren't making mistakes because we weren't put under pressure to make mistakes. And sure enough, we scored a first. Elliott and Mo in the first 20 minutes were absolutely outstanding. The interplay between them was brilliant. And finally, focusing in on that right back area where Spurs had a makeshift player playing in that position that he's not accustomed to. Finally, Gakpo puts a cross in, and Mo Salah heads in at the far post, and we're 1-0 up. And then it kept coming. We were peppering their goal, we were battering them. Spurs had no answer. They continued to stand off, they're chasing shadows, and finally the pressure told. Andy Robbo lays off a cushion pass to Mo Salah. His shot is saved, but Andy Robbo's there to knock it in to make it 2-0 by half time. So second half, you think, okay, what's this mastermind of a Tottenham manager going to do? What's he going to change? What tactics is he going to come out with? The answer was absolutely nothing. Didn't change a thing. And so Liverpool just continued to play as they were playing. Spurs chasing shadows, and we scored a third goal. Harvey Elliott crosses the ball. Gakpo, lovely cushion. There was no pace on the ball, so we actually had to guide it into the near post with a little bit of pace that he put on it himself. It was a really, really nice finish because it was difficult to get any power on that. And then a few minutes later, Harvey Elliott again involved, as he was for his whole time on the pitch, and Mo Salah lays it off to him, and he's actually, I think he was slightly running away from the goal to his left, but he curls in an absolute worldie of a shot that capped a truly outstanding performance from him. And it's 4-0, and here's me thinking, I was at the 7-0 back in the 70s, so it'd be very nice, wouldn't it, after what happened early in the season, for another 7-0. And to be honest, it could have been, and possibly should have been, because we had enough chances in the rest of the game to score 7. But a couple of our Achilles heels, we have 2 of them, and they both kicked in. First of all, Jürgen made some changes. What were his changes? In the 64th minute, he put Gomez and Bajcetic, welcome back, lad, lovely to see you, on for Endo and Robbo. And that seemed to disrupt things. But then in the 75th minute, he put on Nunez and Gravenberch for McAllister and Diaz, which disrupted things even further. And so what actually happened is, between the first substitutions in the 64th minute and then the second substitutions in the 75th minute, Spurs scored in the 72nd, I think it was, and scored again in the 77th, and suddenly within 5 minutes from 4-0 up and bossing the game with fantastic balance to the team, we were a bit all over the place. Spurs started coming at us. They hate to say it, but Richarlison made a difference. He scored one and had an assist, and also brought off a cracking save by Alisson, which was followed up by an even better clearance by Joe Gomez from virtually under the crossbar. Otherwise it could have been 4-3, and the nerves really, really would have been on edge. But anyway, we rode it out. We did have a couple of really, really good chances ourselves. We scored a goal, but Darwin Nunez had run offside. We had a one-on-one, but Darwin Nunez hit the keeper with it. But anyway, it was a pretty disappointing, I would say, rather than poor last 20 minutes, because the substitutes changed the shape. The shape didn't work. The second part of, sorry, I didn't even mention the first one. The first one is our defensive frailty, right? That was what I was heading before I started talking about their goals. But the first one, defensive frailty, and the first goal, they beat the offside trap, but Richarlison is all by himself in the middle. No one within yards of him. He could have took a touch, lit a cigar, and then scored. And then the second one, Spurs just passed through us, and yet they're able to pick out a couple of passes in the box and lay it off to an unmarked Son, and he scores. So defensive frailty. And the second one, which is the bigger reason for it, is this complacency issue that Liverpool have. They were up for today. It's Spurs, team challenging for the top 4, so and we had a bit of a We had a debt to pay. But we're up for those games. And you could see it. But guess what? At 4-0, we completely took our foot off the pedal. Completely. And it's 4-1, it's 4-2. And as I mentioned, it could easily have gone 4-3. So that's something that's going to have to be fixed for next season, is this ruthlessness to start from minute one with a ruthlessness against the lower lights, where the complacency has been on show against the likes of Forest and Luton and Crystal Palace and everything else, and then complacency when you're completely in control of the game and several goals up. It is a problem, and it does need to be fixed. So anyway, shout outs. I've already mentioned a couple of them, but it's worth giving these shout outs again. Harvey Elliott was fantastic today. I hope we never see him in advanced forward position ever again, and I hope he is given a run in that right side of the midfield, because the energy he adds, the guile he adds, the creativity he's capable of. You know, the one thing he does need to improve on is his shooting, but look what he's capable of. You saw it today, and it's not the first time he's done it either, but it was a fantastic goal. It was a fantastic performance from him, and he was a difference maker. Mo Salah. I saw too many Liverpool fans over the last couple of weeks, especially when he was dropped last week, and then the spat he had with Jürgen, sell him, get rid. His time's up, he's had it, he's done. Well, he came back today and he was another difference maker, and apart from the one that he fluffed from about 4 yards out that he should have scored, he had a great game. So well done, Mo. Silence the critics yet again. Andy Robbo was out for months, came back, wasn't up to speed, again got unfairly criticised because he wasn't up to speed, and slowly but surely he's gotten back to his best, and look now, he scored 2 in the last 2 games. He was a live wire throughout, scored the key second goal just before half time, and had another volley that the defender got his head in the way, and he was brilliant. And the last shout out to Cody Gakpo. I always try to call it as it is, and you know, Cody Gakpo had about 3 games in a row where he showed more assertiveness, and in his last game he allowed that non-assertiveness to creep back in. But today he was back, so you know, hey, four very good games out of 5 I'll take from anyone, and well done, Cody. Lovely finish. He got an assist as well, and he's well deserving of his spot. So all in all, we were tremendous for 70 minutes. We were by far and away the better team. We had over 20 shots. Spurs would never have gotten back into it the way they did if it hadn't been for us taking our foot off. So well done, Reds. We've already secured 3rd place anyway, but we're 11 points clear of 4th. For all this, oh my God, we might not even make Champions League. We're 11 points clear of 4th. And we've still got 2 games to win. As disappointing as this last month has been, if you go back to the start of the season with this brand new midfield, and then to find out the injuries we had, and then after 6 games, whatever it was, to have 4 players wrongly sent off and dismal decisions go against us, to end the season with a trophy and we're back in the Champions League isn't so bad after all, is it? I'll be in Liverpool in another week or so. I'll be there to celebrate the big send-off for Jürgen. I know I'm going to see quite a few of you there, so can't wait for that. We've won a trophy, we're in the Champions League, we're the best frigging club in the world. You'll never walk alone. I'll see you after the next one. Ta-da.